All right. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to the next episode of Chatroom. Right here on Chatroom, we talk about everything film. We talk about film theory, film productions, and all that it may that is concerning film. Right. So we're here. We're here to learn from one another. We're here to learn our different styles of filmmaking. You know, like they say, film is universal, right? And everybody have different approach towards it. So this is an avenue where we learn different approaches from different filmmakers and their ideologies towards film productions, right? Um, so today we're going to be talking about something that's of great concern to me.
Slow down, Jesus.
This boils down to the use of camera, right? Yeah. Now the question is, do you prefer to work with a single camera or work with multiple camera? Like, which one makes your job easier? What do you love to do? Do you like to work with multiple cameras or do you like single cameras? No, I have had several situations where people we had it wasn't an argument, it was a discussion somewhere, and then some people expressed their mind on why they always love to work with multiple cameras, why some other people felt that multiple cameras is a distraction. So why this discussion was going on, now some of them, you know threw their weight on the fact that a multiple camera shoot is a distraction, right? Why some other people saw it as an advantage, because now some felt that if you are working with your a camera, if you're working with a camera, you'll be able to tell or express yourself through the first person's narration, right? There are situations where you want to make a movement, certain kind of movement, and then you don't need any other camera to distort or disturb the movement or the flow, because there is a flow based on the story you are telling. So sometimes people prefer to use a camera and work directly with the actors. While some other people also believe that, okay, these actions needs to be captured. Of course, as much as as much as people agree, that some people stand for the fact that uh, single camera is good for them. They also do agree that multiple cameras probably should be brought in certain occasions, not all the time, right? But then, personally, I've worked with either either of them. I've worked in a situation where I had one camera to work with, and I was able to achieve my aim within a period of time, and also work with multiple camera shooters. So what I do basically is, considering the fact that I understand so much about the multiple camera thing, knowing too well. In fact, before now, during the days of celluloid, right, eh, before the emergence of digital cameras, right, those days they used to have what we call A and B roll cameras, right. This is where we coined that word B-roll from, meaning cutaways, right? So what they do is that they know that it might be cumbersome, bringing two cameras, but then at the same time there are certain expressions that they might not want to take twice. So what they do is that they get an A-roll camera and a B-roll camera. So what that means is that the A-roll camera happens to be the main camera. And what that camera does is that it captures the main activities in that frame or in that film, while the B-roll cameras concentrate on capturing the cutaways. Let's say for instance, you have an actor coming from a room upstairs and had to go through the staircase down, and maybe you have a round staircase or something, no, so and then the master camera will pick the maybe on a mini jeep, right? It will pick the the actor coming from the top of the building, then all through the way down, and then he follows. Probably the actor is coming to a table in front of a TV somehow to pick a phone and then answer a call. So he could decide to follow from that master and then come all the way down the staircase and then remain on the face where the actor comes in and then picks it, and then you eventually see the CU. So, but then these are the movements that most times, make some DPs not want to do double camera shoot. But then, let's imagine that that's the only shot you want to take, of course. But what stops you from who says that you cannot probably take any other shot why that is happening, even though that's the only shot you might want to take? You never can tell what can come out of the other one. You never can tell what will happen. So these are the reasons why sometimes multiple cameras are usually very, very beneficial, because it helps us to, sometimes it captures some frames that helps us to just, something you didn't even plan to use, but then you go to the edit bench and then begin to discover that this did not work the way you want, so you needed something to bridge it off. So I've been in situations where, okay, I did just one camera shoot and then I needed to work within a space of time, having this tight schedule, and you need to actually actualize your design. And then, in the process of filming, I took that first person narrative where you a lot of movement, I could move from a master to a medium and all of those things. Yes, I had all of that. But then, sometimes, especially when you are not looking at your frames, especially when you are just, you are working in a tight budget where you don't have a monitor or something, you get. So you see that it's always very, very difficult for you to, because at the end of everything, you might notice that something is wrong with this shot and then you cannot continue with it. Or maybe something is wrong somewhere and then you have to fall back to the other B-roll cameras, right? And then, actions, especially when two characters are acting, you might not be able to capture the image, that scene, that action, properly. Sometimes the acting could actually, the best acting could actually be in frame in the first take or probably in the second take. But then sometimes you take a first take, take a second take, and then end up at the edit bench using the first take. For me, whether you are used to working with single camera or you love multiple cameras, I think I don't have a problem with that, right? I believe that all of them have reasons why we use them, especially when it comes to timing. Sometimes you want to actualize a particular this thing within a short period of time or within an ambient of time, right? So if you work with one camera, you might not be able to achieve that. So sometimes it's always very, very advisable to go with multiple camera shoot, where it doesn't mean that the second camera must necessarily be the first, must necessarily do the same thing that the first camera is doing. No. Now, you see, that's the mistake. I always say it to people that in every set that you don't have two DPs. That means you do not, no matter what number of multiple cameras you are working, you still have a master camera, a camera that the DP, works with. So after the DP, you have camera operator. So until we begin to understand that the DP is the master, then we will not be able to work effectively. So I try to make sure that while we are having multiple camera shoots, we have a master camera that is meant to take the main actions, to take the exact things we are looking for. Every other cameras will be working in their various B roles. Let's say, for instance, you want to take an action you don't want to take twice, right? And then maybe in that action, you need to take the face of the person, you need to take the body movement, you need to take the hand, you need to take some other cutaways, that make up the story, and you won't take the thing once. That's where multiple camera shoot comes in. Multiple camera shoot does not mean that the second camera must be shooting the actor when the first camera is also shooting the actor. No. It's possible that the second camera, B camera, is shooting just the leg or the hands of this actor, why the main character is concentrated on the main action itself. Knowing too well that that cutaway that the B-roll camera is taking can also be infused into the main camera. I don't know if this is making any sense, but then, this is my personal opinion. This is how it works for me. This is how I've been able to discern working with multiple camera shoot. And trust me, in a country where we find ourselves, where within a short period of time we need to make some content, we need to shoot something, we need to get it done within a short period of time, where we don't have much to put in. And I believe multiple camera shoot is a go. Why? Because it helps with efficiency. In as much as doing that also, we require that you must have to light in such a way that both cameras are favorable. But I told you, personally, I don't have a problem with if you are going with the fact that you want to do just single cameras. Fine and good. If single camera is what aids you to do your job effectively and what gives you what you want to achieve based on your ideology, that's fine. If multiple camera works for you, that's fine. Whatever works for you. At the end of everything, all we want to know, all we want to see, all the audience want to see is a good movie. Like I said, it doesn't matter whether you work with one single camera or you're working with multiple camera. What matters is that at the end of your shoot, at the end of your paintings, at the end of interpreting your script, we have a good movie. Nobody's going to ask you, did you work with two cameras? Did you work with multiple cameras? How many cameras? Nobody's going to ask you how many cameras you worked with. What people want to ask after the film is done is, was that a good story? Did the story come out fine? That's what people want to know, because at the end of everything, it doesn't matter if you are taking one tool to the farm. What matters is that at the end of everything, you're able to bring out something, harvest something that that makes sense. So in the long run, nobody's going to ask you what tools you work with. People are going to ask you, how well did you bring out your job, right? I've seen people who have shot with one camera shoot and they've done amazing jobs. I've seen people who have done multiple camera shoot and they still brought out good jobs. I've seen people who have shot with big cameras and then they shoot nonsense. And I've seen people who have shot with simple small camera and they made sense out of it. So it doesn't matter. Like they say, it's not about the equipment, it's about the person behind the equipment, right? It's about the ideology, it's about the style. I want you to know that if you are giving 10 filmmakers 10 films to make, who are good, that's good filmmakers, they are going to come out differently. And if you give them the same story, they are going to interpret the story differently. They are going to shoot that film differently. So how a filmmaker wants to make a film, how a filmmaker wants to tell a story, the style a filmmaker chooses to make his story with is what determines the style of cinematography that might go into it. So all these things vary. It doesn't matter. There's no one way to it. So nobody should tell you that you must, you should not. No, in this game, there is no must, there is no should not. Everything is about trial. You could do it this way and it works for you. It will become a standard, right? So from today, I like to know what you think about this. Would you want, are you that kind of person, that cinematographer that loves to work with one camera, or do you like to work with multiple camera shoot? Which of them works for you? Please, I'd like you to go into the comment section and then tell us what works for you and why you choose to work with either cameras, right? Whichever one that works for you. So just give us a reason so that we'll have a reason to, discuss this matter. Because like I said to you, what works for me is different from what works for you, right? So please, let's go to the comment section. Put down your comment and tell us what works for you so that we can also learn from you. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next episode of this podcast, Chat Room.